I'm live. No one yet. I don't even have a thumbs up. I didn't even give myself a thumbs up. What a sad day. Oh, boy. So iffy. Will anyone actually be here? How long will I have to wait? How long? When will one person. There we go. You better have a lot of SQL Server questions, one person, or else I'm screwed. My big plan after this is to go wine shopping for the weekend. Well, if it's Josh, I'm not too excited. That's never a good sign. These developers show up and get nothing out of them. 3 AU, wonderful, wonderful. We have enough people to successfully implement quorum until a fourth person shows up. Oh, there you are. There you are. You ruined quorum, fourth person. Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. Do. Back down to 3. Thank God. Now we're back to quorum. Now we can successfully run our failover cluster. We can successfully fail. That was funny. It was funny. Successfully fail. Fail upward, onward and upward. That's my plan. Yeah. What do you know about failure, Kenneth? What do you know about it? By the way, this week's whatever you want to call it is brought to you by a thing that helps babies fart. That's our sponsor this week. So everyone, a round of applause for our generous sponsor, plastic thing that helps babies fart. This has never been used, by the way. It's just something that came with a new baby a while ago that I found. and I thought it looked funny. You could kind of like a little flute. But, don't worry. That's never been anywhere weird. I still have no idea what that means. I don't want to know. I have nothing. Wow, an actual SQL Server question. Hello, Steve. How are you? Lars says, I use SQL Enterprise. Recently came across a 20 CPU limit due to the wrong install media. Attempts at Edition upgrade failed. What's the difference between variants of Enterprise Edition? So there is the old version, which is like the cal-based. What you want to do is download the install media that has the core-based licensing in the title and do a SKU upgrade to that. You don't need to do an Edition upgrade. You need to do a SKU upgrade. So, yeah, that's where you want to go with that. You don't need to upgrade editions. Your edition is fine. Enterprise is Enterprise, but the SKU of Enterprise is what's skewed up. Zane says, what kind of deluxe baby store did you pick yours up at that it came with accessories? The hospital where it plopped out. DevDBA asks, can I send you my copy of Great Post Eric for an autograph? No. No, I don't even have any copies of that left. Nothing personal. I just don't want anyone to have my home address who I don't know. Don't take it personally, but I do everything from home, and it would be weird if people just knew my address. But if you ever at a conference that I'm at, or a SQL Saturday or anything that I'm at, then I would happily sign it for you for free. P.O. Box. Yeah, no. Why would I do that? Yeah, like Madison. Yeah, Madison, Wisconsin. I'm going to be there. What is it? Friday the 5th for a full day of training, and then Saturday the 6th where I have a session about the optimizer and how the optimizer works. It'll be fun. TempDB, I don't know which conferences you get to, so be prepared. I just might show up anywhere. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think I'm going to pass this year, though. They didn't pick me for a pre-con, and that's an expensive trip when you're not getting paid for it. Expensive. If I lived in Seattle, that'd be one thing. Yeah, bring it everywhere. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You'll run into lots of interesting new people who are like, man, that's a cool book. What's that about? And then more people will buy the book, and then I'll make another $6. And that'll be nice. Yeah, McDonald's, the mall, rest stop bathrooms, various basements, bars with no one in them that open at 9 a.m. Good places to go. Good places to be. Just a second, see if there's any questions on another thing. Yeah, no. All right, good. There was a question that came in via email that I answered via email, and it was that someone uses Sentry One at work, but they have so many SQL servers that it was getting expensive to keep licensing them all for Sentry One, because Sentry One, well, I mean, not just Sentry One, any paid monitoring tool is going to be about the same price. So it doesn't matter if it's like Sentry One or like Quest, Spot Fog, or whatever they're calling it these days. But yeah, like anything's going to be about the same price. But because there were so many people, or so many servers, rather, not so many people, so many servers who they needed to monitor, they were looking for something free or open source. And I suggested, so Stack Overflow and the very, very smart people at Stack Overflow have developed their own monitoring tool over the years. The price you pay is that it is open source and it's a little difficult to install, but it's called OpsServer, and it gets a lot of cool stuff. It collects a lot of awesome metrics. I'm actually gonna pull the link up for it. But yeah, it's pretty sweet if you can get into it. If you can get past the install and config and get it up and running, it's pretty awesome. So if you need a free monitoring tool, I would do that. What? What is that? What doesn't make sense? Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense anymore. Yes, you're welcome. That is a great link. It is a wonderful link. Okay, I'll show that. SQLWatch.io. Wow, I need to get an .io website. Those things are very popular, right? What would I do? I could get like taxes.io. That would be funny. Or I could get like slow.io. What else could I do? Yeah, I don't know. Lots of stuff .io that would be a funny URL. Have you used the newest Azure Data Studio? It has some pretty cool monitoring built in that you can report off of. No, I have never used Azure Data Studio because the majority of the stuff that I care about is in execution plans, and Azure Data Studio is more like Azure Duty Studio when it comes to execution plans. It does not have anything good going on about it. So no, and I despite a lot of people being very excited about notebooks, I have my own little pad of paper that I much prefer to keep my notes on. My wife's dad was a cop for a long time, and when he retired, he gave me all his his police notebooks. So I keep all my notes kind of funny. I keep all my notes in like a police notebook, and the first page has all sorts of funny stuff: an ambulance, rescue squad, fire, So like all this, like a justice of the peace. I don't know what a justice of the peace does. What do they do? It's like all it's missing is like a constable and a priest. Like, I don't know what goes on there. Let's see here. Someone has a very important SQL Server question, but they haven't asked it yet. So I'm just going to wait on that. I'll wait 20 minutes if I have to. Kapil says there was one error call from Spaghetti DBA as SQL workload. Yeah, so that's not, as far as I know, that's not a monitoring tool. That allows you to replay a workload on one server from another server in a little bit better way than the built-in tooling does that. So that's all I know about it, though. That's what I know. That is the most I know. No Collusion wants to know, how can I get over 1 million application locks per second? The most I can get is 325,000 per second. Try harder. That's what I would do. Try harder. Doesn't sound like you're trying very hard. So eat right, get 8 hours of sleep, and literally just try harder is all you need. Lars says, what do you like to use to replay workloads? I don't actually do a lot of that. I just don't. As far as stuff that I know that does it, what was it? Benchmark Factory is good but expensive. So this used to come up on other office hours quite a bit, where someone would want to know how to do that. And Tara would always talk about her experience, where she's worked at like very large companies that had like entire teams dedicated to setting up workload tests. Like they had their own in-house homegrown software, and they would set stuff up to run to do have a production quality workload, inserts, updates, deletes, stuff like that. Yeah, distributed replay is a piece of crap. It is not fun or funny or useful or amusing. It's like, wow, what a great idea. Imagine being able to do that. And then you go to use it and you're like, hell no, I don't want to. I wouldn't want anything to do with this. This is awful. Dan says, if you have a 56-core CPU on a 2012 standard instance of SQL Server, can that cause issues with performance? No, I would say no, it's not going to cause issues with performance. Standard Edition certainly isn't going to see all those cores just because of the limits imposed on it. 2017, you can see 24 cores. So the next question I have is that 56 physical cores, or is that 56 logical cores with hyperthreading? That's another big question. Who knows? Let's see. Do I have questions coming in from anywhere else? No, not yet. Good. Everything's quiet. It's just you. I think we're alone now. What about memory allocation to the cores? Sure. So that's why I was asking kind of about the setup over there. Is if it's a four-way, maybe yes. So run SP Blitz and see if you have memory offline. It'll warn you about that. So SP Blitz will warn you if you have schedulers offline, if you have schedulers on your box that SQL Server isn't using, or if memory is allocated to a NUMA node that SQL Server can't currently see. So yeah, I guess like in like a weird situation, if you had like a 4-way proc, but in like every NUMA node had memory attached to it, then yeah, you could run into some weirdness with that. But run Blitz and it will tell you about it. No Collusion insists that having 56 cores on standard edition might throw off worker thread counts. Yeah, it very well may. Very well may. Trying to think of some other funny stuff that might happen. Let's see. I don't know. Like parallelism. I don't know. Like I'm just trying to think about like parallelism and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's one of those things that I'd love to test out, but I'm just not good. I'm not good at like theoretically figuring out if like if one NUMA node has like 3 schedulers hooked up to like what'll happen. Yeah, look at that. Look at no collusion with the smart answers. Kapil says, if I have a 4-socket 20-core hyper-threading enabled, total of 80 logical processors, what is my best option to set MAXDOP? 8. 8. Just leave it at 8. 8's good. I wouldn't go tooling around much past that. If you set it higher than that, it doesn't really so 8 really is kind of like a weird sweet spot for MAXDOP. I have never seen an entire workload that benefited from a super high MAXDOP. I've seen like some queries that benefited from higher MAXDOP, but overall, setting MAXDOP isn't just about single query performance either. Setting MAXDOP is about making sure that parallelism doesn't harm concurrency. Because if you set MAXDOP to a very high number, then you can the number of cores and threads that get spun up for a parallel query can increase exponentially. You end up with a crazy amount of threads allocated to parallel queries, and that is generally considered a bad thing, because the more of these super parallel queries you have with lots of threads assigned to them, the fewer queries you can run overall. You'll run right into thread pool weights. So setting MAXDOP isn't just about, oh gee, what's the best setting for general query performance. It really is it's a concurrency setting as well. And if you're not setting cost threshold appropriately, aside from that, setting MAXDOP is only half the battle. So careful with that. I would start with 8 though. 8 is a nice number for MAXDOP. 8 is a pretty decent sweet spot for query performance. And it sounds like with the number of cores you have, hopefully you have adequate concurrency with MAXDOP set to 8. But you might have to chop MAXDOP down to 6 or 4. You might have to raise cost threshold up to from 50 to 75 or 100. Who knows? I don't know. If you'd like more specific advice, I would love to help you out in a consulting capacity. But all I can give you is vague recommendations. Set MAXDOP to 8, set cost threshold for parallelism to 50, and tune accordingly. Let's see here. CheckDB can benefit. Yes, CheckDB can benefit from using the number of cores in a single NUMA node. But who does that? God. Let's see. Zane says some stuff about some things. No Collusion says, if you ever have your work spread over too many schedulers and some schedulers are significantly more busy, then the overall query time will degrade because some threads will finish work early. That's also true if you have 2 cores though, because there's all those old Craig Friedman demos where he sets up a 2-core VM, and he makes 1 core very, very busy with a MAXDOP 1 query, and then runs a parallel query, and you can see the imbalance. I think as long as Microsoft hasn't torn his blog down, you can still find one of the posts where he does that. So if you're really interested, look for a Craig Friedman post about parallel scans, and I think there's a demo in there of that happening. Yeah, well, I hope you're not. Look, Kapil says he's a consultant too. Well, gee, I hope you're not billing anyone for this time. Careful on that. You're here. You are seen, sir. You are seen. Cost threshold for parallelism, I start at 50. Yes, that's a good starting spot. But it's funny how it's also amusing to me how it's you have cost threshold set to 50, and that certainly prevents low cost queries from going parallel. But then it's you have some low cost queries that will never break 10. And then you have the really bad queries that'll have a cost of 2,000. and so you're sitting there looking at this well, cost threshold of 50 is good. It's keeping the really small ones from doing anything weird, but those bad queries are really bad. So you gotta be a little careful with those. Let's see. No Collusion has. Oh boy, No Collusion's on a roll today. Holy cow! There are some latches and spin locks use some types of queries that don't scale well with MAXDOP. Yes, it would be nice if someone blogged about those. who's smart and who knows these things and has 96 core servers, or if they're not haven't been downgraded to 48 core servers, who could write about these things with some authority. That would be wonderful. Nesting transaction full is used for parallel inserts into heaps and column stores. A good example. Going above MAXDOP 8 may not help with runtime at all. It might not. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Again, it would be nice if someone smart wrote about these things in some detail. Because the only person I know who might do that wears a funny hat. Why should I ever enable auto growth? I enable auto growth all the time. Can you imagine a job where you got alerts that you had to go grow a data file? I would lose my damn mind and quit. Auto growth is a wonderful thing. Auto growth saves your life. Just don't set it to something stupid like a percentage. 10% of 1 gig is not the same as 10% of 100 gigs. So I love auto growth. I would keep auto growth. Why not use it for log files? I don't know who you're asking that question to. If only conversation threading worked better in here. Yeah, 1 meg auto growth is a funny one. That's one of those cute things that's like you just. Well, you know what? The funny thing about the 1 meg auto growth is at least you'll never wait a long time for it. If you were just constantly growing by a meg, cool. You're never going to wait a long time to grow by 1 meg. Let's see. No Collusion says, I like auto growth for log files and not data files. Well, aren't you just a pre-sizing madman? So then how big do you make your data files then if you don't like them to auto grow? That's what I want to know. This is where we see some absurd number like in the terabytes. I guarantee it. How many terabytes? As big as required. You size queen. You dirty size queen. How do you know how big is required? It's not that big. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Let's see. Lars says he read recently that you might want to allow for enough space to hold 2 copies of your largest index during rebuilds. Yeah, but who rebuilds indexes? That's for the birds. Don't rebuild indexes. It's a waste of time. Go do something important like CheckDB or backups. No Collusion says, I created a database with 72 data files. Huh. How many? On purpose? Like, are you sure you didn't it wasn't like a loop that got out of control? How big were those 72 data files? That's what I want to know. They must have been huge. Huge. What do you put on 70? What do you put across 72 data files? $1.5. So you had, I don't know, whatever, 70, 100 and something gigs. I did a little math on the top of my head. Yeah, all one file group. That would be funny. That would be funny. Yeah. Problems with PFS contention. Yeah. That's a good reason to create that. PFS contention is not just for TempDB, folks. If you are creating enough objects in your data files, you can run into page contention in the same way that you can run into it in TempDB. And it will show the same exact weight types. It'll show you those same exact, what is it, the page latch UP, page latch upweights. Yeah. Show you those in the exact same way. And there's no real differentiation. Like SB Who is Active can show you like which database are happening in. But if you're just looking at weight stats and you're like, holy crap, I have these page latch up weights. What's going on? I already have TempDB set up right. Could be happening in a regular data file. Could be anywhere. Just don't. You could just take a cautionary tale from No Collusion and not create like millions of tables in your user databases in a short span of time. You might run into some scalability issues. RCSI is a magic bullet, not for PFS contention. It's a magic bullet for readers and writers not arguing with each other, but not unfortunately for PFS contention. That's not going to help too much. Microsoft is doing some cool stuff with TempDB's system tables being in memory coming up, and it's in SQL Server 2019. So that'll be fun. It's a magic bullet for developer sanity. Yes, that is true. Otherwise, you make developers spend a lot of time writing no-lock hints, and they could be doing much, much more productive things with their time than writing no-lock. Another the question always comes up when I'm talking to people is about if no lock is different from read uncommitted. They think like one is somehow magically better than the other. Like, no, it's the same thing, just with less typing. Well, I guess a little bit more typing up front, a little bit less typing overall. Yeah, no one wants to solve deadlocks. Deadlocks are the most boring thing in the world to solve. Except parallel deadlocks. Parallel deadlocks make the sexiest deadlock graphs. They look so cool. It's like amazing that kind of line work can be done in a tool designed to write queries and manage a SQL Server instance with. But they're pretty nifty. And I like those. Regular deadlocks is just like, I took a key lock, I took a key lock, I took a key lock, I took a... Dull. Get out. Kapil says, any link that can help me in setting up a 4-node geo cluster or multi-subnet cluster. You know, it's funny. My friend Sean, who works at Microsoft, had a blog post about that, but his blog got taken down recently. So I had a link, but the link doesn't work anymore. So sorry about that. You'll just have to, I don't know, read the documentation. Let's see. Someone who got very drunk and didn't have a good time the next morning at SQL Bits is saying they came into a job with deadlock priority low everywhere. Yeah, that would be a deadlock priority. That would be a deadlock issue, huh? Yeah. You look great the next day. Did you ever figure out where that blood came from? I'm gonna take that as a no. Yeah, that was a good time. If anyone needs a good place to drink in Manchester, go to the Britain's Protection. They have 300 kinds of whiskey, and we have drank them all. So that was a good time. Just stay away from the Irish whiskey with a green label, because that'll do you in. Yeah, that's where we were. Yeah, good question. That was like there's like a bar within walking distance from the hotel, and you didn't know that's where we were. Did you and Martin bump heads real hard and just knock each other out maybe? Let's see. Yes. Where else would we have been? That could explain it. Yes, that could explain the blood. But who knows? Blood can come from many mysterious places. Mostly inside things, though. Inside living things. You could just keep a jar of blood with you. Sprinkle it on stuff. Where did it come from? I don't know. All right. Any other questions? Anything else fun going on? What's everyone doing? It's Friday. Some of you should be doing things that are better than this. At least it's 5:30 where you are. See, Darren says, last week or week before, you said you were doing some Sentry One mining scripts. Are those still forthcoming? Yes. I actually just scheduled that blog post last night. That'll get published. Here, let me see here. I'll go look. I have magical powers where I can see when blog posts are going to happen. Unfortunately, I think my website is slow. Who do I call? If only there were some kind of website performance tuning expert I could talk to about why my website is slow. By the way, that's just one query that I have lined up. It's nothing. I don't have like a whole series of them. It was just one that I was particularly proud of. I blame WordPress, Kenneth. Stephen Cutter says, any good tips for moving file stream data? Yes, put it in the garbage. Stop using file stream. What an awful, awful feature that is. Hi. DevDBA says, trying to get Toad to recognize my new tnsname.ora file. Bad time. Yeah, a lot of things with Oracle are a bad time. Sorry about that. Use SQL Developer instead. I hear Jeff Smith says that that's much, much better. Let's see. WordPress on shared hosting. Do I have that? I don't know what I have. Managed, maybe? I don't know. How do I get a faster website? Who do I pay for like enterprise edition of WordPress? Zane says Oracle SQL Developer is my nightmare. Well, you should open a ticket about that. You know what? You should tell Jeff Smith on Twitter that you don't like it. Let's see here. I got to answer that question though. Where are my posts? Where are my posts? Oh, they're still loading. So I blogged so much I made WordPress slow. Zane just doesn't like Oracle. Zane has Oracle problems. Let's see. Yes. So the query that I wrote for Sentry One will get published April 10th. Sorry about that, Darren. You know what? How about this? Just because, Darren, because you asked, I will have that go out. When can I get rid of this thing? What's tomorrow? The 23rd? I have blog posts scheduled until April 12th. That's how crazy my life is. That's how little I have going on with myself. So let's see. Today's the 22nd, and that was yeah. You know what? I'll do a quick thing. I'll do a quick schedule change, and when I get off here, and I'll have the Sentry One helper query go out on I guess Monday of next week. So watch for it Monday, the 25th. That's what I'll do for you, because we're best friends now, and I don't mind changing my blog post schedule for you. Let's see. Laura says, not small table with old data, but typically only last 2 weeks of data queried. I've heard that partitioning for performance is not a good idea, but need to keep stats updated to retain good query plans. So that's where something like filtered statistics or filtered indexes would probably be helpful. So here's the thing: is even if you partition the table, you're right, it wouldn't be helpful for performance, and it also wouldn't help stats, because while SQL Server will sample statistics at the partition level, the final histogram that it puts together is the same 200 steps for the entire table. So it's not particularly helpful for that. So it won't help you any. That won't help you any better. Like, you could update stats for a single partition, but it's not. It's still going to be the same. It's still going to do the whole 200 table thing. They're not going to help you with that. What you really need to do is create like filtered stats or filtered indexes that will have filter statistics on your hot data, and that way you can keep that chunk of data, better stats up to date. So there's always that. Zane says it has a bug that causes it to get stuck when opening. Okay, I don't want to read that. Darren's, yep, no problem, Darren. Tanner says, beats me. I only have them. I don't know what that means. Yes, Biffles. Let's see. Did a 3,000 word blog post the last day. I'm taking a week off. What would ever possess you to put 3,000 words in one blog post? That's a book. That's like 5 blogs. You could have had like a week of blogs with that. Why would you put that all in one blog post? There's nothing good about a 3,000. No one's going to get to the end of that. No one's going to get to the end. People are going to die reading that thing. It's like a farewell to arms or remembrance of things past. It's just far too long to exist. Sounds like half of a Paul White blog post. Paul, thanks to my expert tutelage, has gotten much better about breaking his blog posts up into consumable chunks. You have me to thank for that. That Rogo's blog post was 1 blog post. It said 4 and give it recaps. TLDR. You need that stuff. No one's as smart as you. Yes, that likely is where the blood came from. Banging your head against a laptop for 3,000 words. I would do the same thing. Yeah, I think Rogals was originally one post. It's like, you are out of your damn mind. What software do you use to compose blog posts? Google Chrome on WordPress. I don't use the block editor, and I don't use what's that? I don't use Gutenberg. That thing is such a piece of crap. Writing blog posts in Gutenberg made me want to stop blogging. I eventually, there was a plugin to use the classic editor, and I've never looked back. God, Gutenberg was such garbage. Hang on a second. My wife is texting me. Okay. All right. Apparently, my wife is ready to go wine shopping, so I'm going to get out of here. It was lovely having you all this week. I will see you next week, and we will talk about more stuff and things for SQL Server or whatever you bring up. I will maybe I'll start reviewing wine on here, because that would be the only reasonable use of a Friday, is to drink wine in front of all you people. Anyway, thank you all for coming. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Remember, this week's sponsor is a thing that helps babies fart. So thank you. Thing that helps babies fart.